Welcome back to Marvel Media Podcast, where we talk about all things media, especially Marvel. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And welcome to episode 19 of Marvel Talk. Today we'll be reviewing and discussing Miss Marvel, which was a huge surprise for all of us, I think. Definitely didn't see it being as good as it was. Either that or it was, or if we were just had like no expectations and it just met it easily. So I'll let you guys dive into the details because I can't really remember too much about it since it's been a little bit, but
they're all betas.
That's true. They were.
That's the only that's the main bad part of the show. All beta.
Everybody was getting hit with it, and nobody stood up.
I know. Nobody responded. Not a single soul. So honestly, she get embodied in the first Marvel movie, bro. She's getting called beta. Doesn't respond. Calls other people betas. Bit of a Chad move by her. But yeah, that part, that was tough to get by. Okay, overall, Amir, the brother, dope as shit. Guy was funny. Sick ass beard. Jealous of him the entire time. Handsome fellow as well. He was just vibing the entire show. You know, shit was going down. They're getting shot at and shit. And he's just, yeah, I'm there. Oh, my wedding got ruined? Don't worry, sis. Still gonna help you out. Just a great guy. Great dude overall.
The dad was cool,
the
too.
rest of the show, dad was cool. Mom had some touching moments as well, you know, even though she was kind of like the typical mom of like coming of age type story where the mom just like, you can't do that. But still. What else about the story? I mean, yeah, like we said, we made fun of it being a kid show, which is why we all three agreed to almost just not watch the show. And then one day, Blake and I just said, screw it. We're going to binge watch the entire series for some reason that day. And then we did. And then we're like, yo, Alex, low-key, it wasn't really that bad. Now you got to watch it all. But it gave me the, like, you know. So basically, you practically binged as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I gave, like, Disney, a good Disney show vibe, you know, like Wizards of Waverly Place. So good overall. Had some cringy moments. You're like, God, why did she just say that? Or why did they make that joke? Especially like that one fight scene where they met the dude with the red mask and they're having a little battle with each other. All the voice lines between those two characters. Yeah, there's just...
Yeah, their little fight, and then he was like, come with me if you want to live. And she was like, what? And he was like,
I always wanted to say that.
Just kidding. I always wanted to say that. I was like, okay. But again, like we said, this was catered towards kids more, I feel like, than other MCU projects, even though I definitely feel like, unfortunately, they are doing that a lot more, as I feel like Thor Love and Thunder was, you know, had a lot of stupid kid jokes in a way. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this surprised us. Like, maybe it was just because we went in with such low expectations that it did hit it. But overall, I mean, like you said, I felt like the family, like writing and how they all interacted with each other was really good, actually. Like, usually you'll have at least one cringy, like, family member or whatever. But I feel like all of them were good in the show. The friends were good. Bruno, I thought Bruno was pretty funny. Dope guy. Congrats going off to college. Proud of you. But overall, I mean, like you said, I thought the show was solid. I mean, I can't even really remember what the villains were called in this. They were from that, I don't even remember the name of it.
It was like the
other dimension
of like,
right?
Yeah, like evil, what, ghosts, basically, right?
I can't even remember the name of it. So, like, obviously, not the most memorable villains, but I feel like that's how most of the shows have been. I mean, is anybody really going to talk about Carly Morgenthau or, I don't know, I was just about to say whoever Loki, I guess you could say it was, you know, the TVA with Kang and stuff, but I mean, Ramona, that was a one chick's name. I feel like most of the TV shows, the villains aren't all that memorable anyways, so that's not a big deal to me. Like you said, I thought they did good building her story up. I am actually very excited to see her show up in the Marvels, as I thought she was a pretty solid character, actually. I mean, other than that, like you said, I was pleasantly surprised with this series, and definitely excited to see more of Miss Marvel. I don't know, Alex, what are your thoughts?
Alex, thoughts?
I was also surprised. I thought that it was going to be a very kiddish, childish show, and I mean, it does have its moments like that, but um, it definitely improved as it went along. That one episode where I think it was episode 4 or 5, where it starts like in the past. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
that
that's
was
pretty cool.
fire,
You get to see like the backstory and everything. I thought like the backstory of her great grandmother was pretty cool, and you kind of got to like know the backstory of where they came from and their dimension. Like Blake said, we don't remember their names. We know is that they're from a different dimension, kind of like the dimension. Oh God, what's the name of the dimension in Shang-Chi?
Oh, they have the dweller in
I should know. I literally just
darkness.
watched it.
I did too. I did too. And I
I
can't
literally
remember
just watched it like 2 days ago.
Dude, what? Yeah, what?
I watched it last weekend. But either way,
Yeah.
it seems like they're
was
introducing a lot of other dimensions within the MCU, and it's not like on their Earth. It's like a different dimension. So it's kind of also it's starting to make a little bit of sense why they're calling
Multiverse
this
Saga,
the
baby.
Saga. Yeah. So we're finally getting little tidbits of that, but hopefully Phase 5 brings us a little bit more, and maybe even some explanation in the Marvels. Standouts from the show, I would say the main actress who plays Miss Marvel actually did a pretty decent job. I mean, I feel like if they get the right writers, I don't know if they found writers for the Marvels. I assume they have already, because it should be filming, or at least close to being wrapped up, I think, with it coming out in like a year or so. So if they can write her character well, I feel like she's definitely like a potential bright future for this brand that they're trying to build. The Young Avengers. Like I said, or like you guys said, I don't remember the villains' names. I don't know the mom's name. I can't remember. I thought that was kind of weak how like she was about to get everything she wanted, and then she's like, you know what, nah, fuck it. I'm like, that was a little quick to turn, that was like my one little gripe with
all
them.
that this entire phase has been. I mean, look at Gore, look at Wanda, look at Shang-Chi's dad. I mean, that's all this,
all about family.
This entire saga has been right when the villain has a chance to actually win or go through with what they want. They, turn to be a good person and try to be some redeeming death that's supposed to mean something.
I feel like the one that actually best played out, I felt like was the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. I feel like out of all of those kind of villains
not the Mandarin?
redeeming themselves at the end, Wenwu.
Yeah, how dare you?
When he redeemed himself, I guess, but it wasn't even. It was kind of like a last ditch effort, because he starts to remember, like, okay, yeah, I kind of abandoned my family. It's like his last effort to give Shang-Chi a way to defend himself, which was the rings. I guess that was the only I can buy into that out of all of the other ones. Gore, oh god, don't even get me started.
Let's go back to Miss Marvel.
And then same thing with Kamran's mom. I mean, she literally abandoned him. She just said, nah, like, see you later. And just because Miss Marvel like talks to her out of it, I'm like, nah, I don't buy it. She spent her whole life since like the 1800s or whatever to try to like get back home, and she's like, you know what, fuck it, I don't buy it.
Because some 15 or 16-year-old girl told me, hey, you shouldn't do this, think of your son who you've already abandoned. And she's just like, you're right, that's on me.
Spitting facts right there, bro. Save the hot guy.
Yeah, so that's my only gripe, and then like a few lines in the show that
hot,
were
bro. I'm just
kind of
they're trying to make him hot. That was a whole bit, dude. And I remembered like the slow fade scene.
His intro of him getting out of that pool, literally, we just started cracking up. It was so like Disney Channel, like trying to make this dude some like heartthrob, and it was just like,
this dude fucks, but in PG.
this dude bricks. It just
does, bro.
was not that good. I thought what was her name? Nakia. She was she was pretty chill. She was a cool part of it. I thought the end was kind of interesting in a sense, like the little, I don't know, almost in a way Home Alone scene against the Department of Damage Control inside the school, of them all dressing up and like running around doing certain stuff. Like, it was pretty fun. I mean, it fit what the show was. So I thought that actually was like a pretty decent ending, like that whole little thing going on, which the whole Department of Damage Control is a whole other thing that we haven't talked about too much. Obviously,
They're the mutant hunters, bro.
We saw what's her name? Don't even remember her name, but the one lady who was like the lead of that department crew or whatever, and she was told like, oh, don't go in there, like, what are you doing, by the one guy who we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home. And then she just decided to be like, nah, fuck it, we going. And it didn't work out for her. And, you know, we saw, obviously, at the end, in the whole little battle, the people of New Jersey kind of helped get the damaged people, Department of Damage Control, to Kamala. So
back off.
It kind of was just, it fit the ending. Josh and I did kind of have that theory. Obviously, one of the huge, I would say there's two major, well, I guess one major takeaway from this show and one kind of bigger one. But the major takeaway was at the end of it, we learned that the reason that the gauntlets, or whatever you want to call them, had a different reaction with her. The Bangle, that's right. Was because Bruno said he found a mutant gene, and then we heard the X-Men 97 theme song start playing in the background. So obviously that was the huge takeaway from this, is that she is technically our first confirmed mutant in the MCU. So that was huge. But Josh and I both were kind of talking about that. We think the Department of Damage Control could potentially be kind of like, I don't know what they were called back in the old X-Men, but kind of like the people who are basically trying to like hunt down mutants and all that stuff with the tech and stuff that they have. That was kind of our theory.
Yeah, they had crazy tech. They were out of their line and didn't really like work with other agencies, and they actually try to hide from other agencies. They brought that up multiple times about hiding from like FBI and etc. And then as well as the guy from Spider-Man that we saw when he was the one interrogating them, he mentions about they're looking at other enhanced individuals. So like this was something that they've been doing. Like this isn't their first event of doing said thing for damage control. So it's kind of like, why are these guys even doing that when at first they were created by Tony Stark from the first Spider-Man that we see to just clean up after the adventures, and that's it. So it's kind of like, how did they just get to this point?
Right.
So, yeah.
So that was...
Which is cool, because, yeah, we could possibly see more, mutants start to pop up here and there until we finally get, like, a full-fledged mutants.
It's definitely a soft launch. But not against it.
Which, I mean, it makes sense, because, like, because they didn't have the rights to the mutants. And, like, 3 phases in, they finally get the rights. It's like, how the hell are they going to spin it? How are they going to bring mutants in? I guess this is like a nice way to kind of like slowly start to kind of introduce the idea that yes, some people have like a like dormant mutation in their genes, and as soon as it awakens, it starts to manifest in different ways. Obviously with Kamala, she has, like her cosmic power where she can make stuff and get bigger, even though that's not what she is like in the comics. She's more like Mr. Fantastic, but I guess I kind of understand they want to kind of differentiate her and Mr. Fantastic, because obviously he's going to come at some point in the future in phase 6. So it's definitely interesting. I'm definitely intrigued for what they have her doing in the next movie and the Marvels, because obviously the post-credit scene, it seems like they kind of switch places at the end, and then we get Captain Marvel there, and that's why she kind of seems, she was like, oh shit,
like, go fuck some people up.
Yeah. And that suit that she was wearing and like her hairstyle, I was like, there we go. Like, see, that's how you do a proper suit, and yeah. But we all know that's not how she's gonna look in the Marvels. They're probably gonna change it up again.
There's a chance.
We'll see.
It's just facts.
Also, talking about that.
Well, I hope so.
The gauntlet Blake mentioned when we were watching it, it looked like it was on a Kree's hand when they first like grabbed it, and kind of like that throwback scene. So that was kind of interesting. I don't know, some more connections there when it comes to the Kree invasion. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah.
Which again would help flow with her and Miss Marvel, or her and Captain Marvel having some kind of connection, because obviously Captain Marvel, her gauntlets or bangles, whatever you call them, would have been some kind of Kree tech, because she was, originally working for the Kree when she didn't know her identity yet. And now with Kamala finding that one, that could be why they switched places, because the tech is both Kree tech, and something went haywire, whatever, and managed them to switch places. So it would make sense for those two to also have some kind of connection of why they were why they switched places, as well as just for them to meet up and talk about everything going on, which, as you said, with the whole Kree invasion, that could help with Krees and Skrulls have had their arguments. That could help with secret invasions, kind of lead us into that if we know, the Kree and the Skrulls were fighting on Earth or had something going on. So, I don't know. And also, like you were saying, with the kind of like a soft launch of mutants, if you look at our next two projects, it would make sense that they can continue to slowly do that, as obviously we're going into She-Hulk coming out in a couple weeks here. Which we know from the trailers and stuff, they're opening a whole division to help legally protect the enhanced, so that obviously could not just be the people with, whatever you want to superpowers from different ways, but that could be, we could get an introduction to some enhanced individuals who are mutants, as well as Black Panther. After that, Wakanda Forever, we could potentially maybe name more in the comics. He was an Inhuman, so we could see him be some kind of Inhuman, mutant, whatever they want to call them. So I think it makes sense for this to be a soft launch, and we can get these next two projects can kind of help slowly introduce them and bring them to the MCU.
At least we hope so. We don't know if that's going to happen or not, because obviously we kind of go with these not even like huge expectations of like wanting some sort of like connection or thread, throughout this whole thing. We just want like little tidbits, and sometimes we don't even get that. So would it be nice? Absolutely. But I'm not gonna like hope that that's what's actually gonna happen. Well, I would like it to. Like, I would like them to kind of confirm Namor to be, if not Inhuman, because obviously Kamala in the comics, she's an Inhuman, but I guess they're doing it as, she's a mutant this time. Maybe make him a mutant, because obviously he can swim and live underwater pretty easily. So, how the hell does he have that power? It seems like he naturally got that power since he was born like that. So that's a good way to introduce him as a mutant. But I don't know if they're going to name drop that or whatever, but I'm hoping. But I'm also not going to expect it. That's kind of what this phase has kind of given me and told me, that you can hope for it, but don't expect it.
I'm curious if they just totally give up on the Inhuman storyline, because it's kind of surprised to even see any reference to it in Doctor Strange when it came to the Illuminati.
Oh, but Black Bolt. Yeah,
and then you see that with Miss Marvel, they're kind of teasing that she's a mutant. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I get it. Marvel's definitely got scorn for Inhumans movie in the past, as well as they tried setting up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they just totally gave up on it since. So maybe they're just going to give up and just only give teases like that and some random cameos. But I'm curious if Inhumans ever come, or if it's just going to be straight mutants. But if they do straight mutants, I understand, because it's going to be really hard to introduce all those storylines kind of out of nowhere with how deep we're in to do both. So I don't know. Like I said, we have no clue.
Like, I feel like it's
Right.
kind of hard. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to differentiate what's the difference between like an inhuman and a mutant. Like, they're so closely like similar. It's kind of hard. So he might say fuck it and just do like make it simple,
especially for the casual
it's a
viewers.
mutation.
Well, that's because the
be
whole
yanking 'em out.
backstory between those two. Because I saw something about this, which I'll just try to give the quick summed up version of it. But the reason that we had Inhumans and then X-Men, which are mutants obviously, is Marvel owned the rights to obviously both of them. And so they had Inhumans and mutants, but they mainly did X-Men, which are mutants. And then in the early 2000s, obviously, Fox bought the rights to X-Men and started making X-Men movies. So the lead at the time of Disney wanted to stop putting out comics that were X-Men because that helped people want to see the X-Men movies, which Disney didn't profit from because that's Sony or Fox. So then they started to do the whole Inhuman thing. So basically, anyone who's an Inhuman was originally supposed to be a mutant, but they didn't want to give X-Men and mutants publicity because they didn't profit off of it. So they basically just then created the whole Inhuman thing, which they had rights to. So that's why it'd be no problem for them to just do everybody's a mutant and not really do the whole Inhuman thing now that they have all the rights. But that was just like, I saw that. I don't remember where I saw that or read that. It was just it was basically a money thing of why there's
or maybe they
Inhuman
just say, maybe they just say it's the same thing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They basically are.
They already did announce that Bolt was the leader of the Inhumans in Doctor Strange, so maybe they just kind of just say, it's basically the same thing.
Right.
So,
which would be easy for them. So I'm assuming that's kind of what they're going to do.
Like their universe's title. Yeah.
Right.
Because they could literally be the same thing. Like in that universe, the mutants there are called Inhumans, and then in this universe they're called mutants. So they could pull it off like that. But going back to Miss Marvel, what will you guys give the show overall?
That's tough.
Say
I'll give it a 7.5. It was a
I was gonna give it a 6.5.
It was an average.
I was going to give it like a 7.2.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you can watch this and be content, but
like we said, we don't even remember the villains.
Yeah. It genuinely is a show only watch if you just want context for upcoming movies, or if you really got nothing else to watch with Peace and Love. I mean, I like the actors that they got in there, and I like the investment that they're doing because they definitely seem thrilled. All the actors did when they were talking about the show, and were super excited about the future. So that is pretty cool. You love to see that. So that part's nice. But overall,
I don't think she was even I don't think she even was like an actress prior to this. Like I think it's like her first role, and she did a pretty decent job for her first role. And I think she was like a fan first. Yeah. Like I saw like an interview
she's a major
where I guess where she talked to Kevin Feige, and she had like her own notebook and like stuff of like how they can plan the next phases and what can happen during this. And I was like, damn, okay, so she actually like prior to being hired on, she was an MCU fan, which not many actors are, or I mean, I guess they know of these characters, but they don't really like. It never read and never saw them on TV.
It's not like Christian Bale. It's like, what the fuck is the MCU?
This actors did.
Christian Bale. The one quote about, have you seen the MCU? I saw something with a big bloke trying to get some stones or something. That was his knowledge of the MCU.
So,
but no, I agree. Yeah. Same with the actress who plays from Doctor Strange. Why am I blanking right now?
America Chavez.
She also seems to be a very big MCU fan, and she's showing up at like everything. Like she was at the Thor: Love and Thunder I don't know what you want to call it. Preview, I guess, whatever it was.
Premiere,
right? She was there, and I think she was even at the Miss Marvel one. So both of them, both actresses, seem like they're very, they care about the MCU. They pay attention to the MCU, which is always, as a fan, I personally love that. Like, I get excited when the actors or actresses actually care about, what's going on.
It makes the projects better.
Right. Like, and it makes sense with how young they are, because obviously they grew up and the MCU was already so huge. A lot of us younger audience, we grew up with the MCU, so it makes sense that we're such super fans compared to, like, the older, when it was just starting, those actors, that kind of thing. But same with Tom Hiddleston, Loki. He is very they always talk about on the set of Loki how he gives like big like speeches basically about like what's going on or what's happened in Loki's past and stuff. So like I personally, I just love that stuff. Elizabeth Olsen, she also is another one who she's read the comics and she's talked about stuff. So I don't know, I'm just, if I see a actor or actress is a big fan of the MCU, I'm always like,
literally
I want to see
the Doctor Strange movie practically in the past.
Right.
It's like, I want Wanda to just
I think
her shit basically over kids.
I'm all in on.
Yeah, she said she like called on them.
Right.
Yeah,
literally. So I'm cool. I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
I think it was back in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
It was, because it was her and I forget who she was next to.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I remember that interview.
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Quicksilver. Yeah. Yep.
Short-lived.
Rest in peace.
Pretty cool.
I love that, dude. Even now, if you see like any Marvel TikToks or whatnot, there's at least you can find one comment saying they killed Quicksilver off too fast. I see that so many times, dude. People are still salty about that. What, you didn't see that coming? 50 bullet holes in my guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't got anything else to say about Miss Marvel. I mean, hey, you did okay. Better than bad.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely leaves you kind of like wanting to know what's going to happen in the Marvels. That's kind of like the best thing I can say is that I'm actually somewhat intrigued for the Marvels now.
Made me excited about Captain Marvel, so hey, give it to that.
I agree. I think that's going to wrap up this video. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts if you watched Miss Marvel. If you haven't watched Miss Marvel, like we said, give it a shot. It's actually pretty decent, and it definitely will get you excited for the Marvels movie. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, follow along on our social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and check out Apple Podcast, where the obvious podcast version of the show will drop at the same time it drops on YouTube, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
OnlyFans coming soon.
Peace.